Hey everyone, Screen123 here today with yet another replay cast. We're looking at a replay sent in by viewer VonRoon in a Hakuryuu with a division made Grosse Kurfürst. If you say expect, it's actually a not bad of a ship, and most people don't actually expect that. Most people, when they think of aircraft carrier divisions, they think of things like Minotaurs, Des Moines, Grosjevies, to an extent Gearings. They don't necessarily think of Kurfürst. They'll think Montanas. Things that are known for having strong anti-aircraft. Even the baguettes. The Grosse Kurfürst isn't known for having strong anti-aircraft. However, when fully spec, it isn't bad. Biggest downside of the Grosse Kurfürst is that those 5.5 centimeter guns are split over 8 mounts, much like the Minotaur's 3-inch 70s are split over 8 mounts. They have incredibly bad redundancy, and they die really fast when focused by high explosives. Regardless, with doing a reasonably standard Hakuryuu launch, we are against an enemy Hakuryuu, so aggressive fighters could have been an option. Stationary the ship, a little bit of a, I guess I tend to call them mistakes. Looks like we're playing with a high zoom out mod, definitely very useful for your overall situational awareness. For some reason, I don't play with that. I mean, I should, but I say this so many times, I should, but I don't, so I guess, hey. Regardless, the Peter is heading towards Bravo. Shimmy's entered it, nothing spotted. He's not locked yet. Going with a launch like this runs the downside of your, torpedo bombers being intercepted like this because your fighters aren't airborne yet. Looks like the enemy aircraft carrier launched disruptive, and while we launch aggressive torpedo, well, heavy torpedo, so we kind of get caught off by that. However, if his enemy fighter in B, it's currently a little bit solo, but if he could have tagged and gotten the second squadron in, maybe bait him into disengage trade for a free kill, but looks like it's going to be an equal trade. We don't know where his strike is, and we're currently stationary with our carrier, so that could result in some awkward situations if the enemy carrier is going for snipe, or he's holding his stuff back. Trying to do some strafings here. Unless the enemy carrier feeds, this is going to be a complete miss, and we're way too far away. Unless he breaks it back in, that's a complete miss. We risk being counter-strafed. Looks like he went for the tag, and he's going to go with a double tag, so we might as well just strafe right through that right now. Remember to do the disengage strafe right on the escape path, otherwise our planes are not really going to guarantee the wipe. But we killed most of his stuff. He wasn't paying enough attention, so that's really good for us. I wouldn't be bothering, and looks like this mod is messing with the strafing icons a little bit. I'm guessing he's got much more experience with that. So we do wipe out one squad, well, both of the enemy fighter squadrons, leaving him with 15 total fighters remaining. In the meantime, we basically have lost 3 planes at the cost of a good chunk of our ammo, and the enemy strike is now going through the western side of the map. Now, for me, it's a little bit difficult to judge the ranges to stuff while looking like this. Looks like we've got our number 3 fighter squadron circling in mid. Looks like we're going to hit the enemy Yamato, and okay, our planes were more than far enough away, but our Monarch is definitely getting attacked, and even if our fighters had gone in for a reaction, we wouldn't really have been able to go, and properly react to stop that. Our dive bombers are still circling around B. Normally it's recommended to go for full damage over time with the dive bombers first for flooding, and if we had set fires on enemy damage control party, that would have been basically guaranteed Yamato death. However, currently our dive bombers are still just circling, so we might as well just go and plunk him on the Yamato now. He has definitely damage control party those fires. Looks like we're currently placing, manual drops that are just aimed at somewhere. I guess it's just an order to go fly in that direction at the moment. Our fighters are too late to the party, so we need to be careful because they're going to be low on ammunition. When you have this many dive bombers, you actually want to just, there is basically 2 ways of doing it. And looks like we're doing some really weird drops on him. Looks like a bunch of auto drops just committed to it. So we only get 2 fighters on that. We could potentially pick up all 4 if we'd fully aim for that. Number 3 fighter taking a little bit of anti-aircraft over there. Not a big deal. Gearing actually can chip a couple of our planes, and that would be kind of unfortunate. But if we'd gone for the HE dive bombers first, knowing we killed the enemy fighters, and pretty much just accepting the fact that we're not going to intercept the enemy strike, we could have had this Yamato killed already if he was silly enough to damage control fires, and if he isn't, set some fire, set double fire on it, let it burn a little bit, set another fire on him, or send, 2 torpedo bombers in, get the flooding in, send another, send the remaining stuff when he damacons that, because he definitely will damacon that at that point, send the remaining torpedo bomber with the remaining dive bombers in, and, kill him. So, that's a bit unfortunate we don't actually get to pick up the kill on that. Yamatos is still very dangerous, and now definitely would be a good time to start getting our ship moving. Currently, the team's position-wise isn't doing too well. What do we lose? It's a rune, not a big deal. We still have 3 destroyers, and they better start picking up the pace and getting some damage in. Our battleships, I'm not really sure. Don't think they're in a bad position, but we do need to be careful of that because, well, we need to start picking up kills, and we also need to start getting the pressure on the enemy's stuff. Now, we're going for the tag on the enemy fighter. I wouldn't bother strafing that at this point because that's a complete miss. Okay, or not. I'm guessing the zoom is really not. I'm not that familiar with that, so I'm guessing we got lucky enough that we picked up the kills on that. That squad's out of ammo now, so we killed 1 squad for free, so that's him down another 4 planes, so he's already lost 14, leaving him with at that point I think is it 11 more planes total, so that's definitely very useful for us. Again, we've got HE dive bombers loading up, torpedo bombers going in first. Against the Missouri, that can result in some bleed, but at this point, we do actually just need to keep the pressure up. Plus, we're attacking him while he's probably busy focusing on the Richelieu, and he doesn't have a very heavy anti-aircraft spec. We can see that on the anti-aircraft coming in and the range of it and all. We need to be careful of the enemies of the fighters there. It looks like he's just... It looks like my icons are a little bit bugged at this point. I'm not sure why, but it looks like the enemy carrier isn't so keen on strafing, so we get a really, really strong drop on the Missouri, who decides that it's better for him to take more torpedoes than to kind of screw himself over with a Richelieu. But at this point, well, okay, it looks like the Yamato is being torped a bit more. The enemy carrier is naturally attacking the western side of the map. So at this point, we kind of just need to outtrade the enemy carrier, deal more damage to the enemy fleet than with our carrier than the enemy carrier is doing with his. In this case, I would probably just full dump all the dive bombers on the Missouri and set as many fires on that as possible. The Yamato's got a lot of health. We can always go farm that back down at some point later. Or we can wait for the allied torpedo bomb, who are currently going for the Missouri to see what the result of that is. And we spot an enemy Aki's. Well, I mean, that Missouri looks minorly stuffed, so I don't think we actually need to go deal with that. So now it's just, set some fires on the Yamato, going with the bombers, set double fires, burn them a little bit, wait for them to fix it, or wait for it to expire, come back with the next dive bomber. That Missouri is by more than all means gone, because he took, more torpedoes and didn't have a damage control party, so was definitely going to flood to death. We just, at this point, I probably... Okay, there you go. Looks like he went for head-on strafe as well, but we can just tag onto him. We've got 5 versus 4. And chances are we're going to have a higher chance of winning that fight overall. Looks like he's just going for the tag at this point. And our allied ships are underneath there. I'm not sure if they have AA on or not. Looks like we're dive bombing for the rear section there, but there was slightly on the lead, I think. But he's still burning, so I personally wouldn't really commit this squadron. I mean, we do get an extra fire out of it, so maybe we get lucky and he'll damage control party it. Aki gets shredded by the Shimmy, who actually, knows how to use his mouse 1 button, which is a little spot of luck. Yami's being smart about it, he's letting it burn, which, I mean, he's burning to the point where our torpedo bomber Alpha will just up front kill him. And otherwise, the western side of the map seems to be winning, well, at least seems to be holding out decently. Might be an idea to send one of these empty dive bombers to go help our division mate off the enemy's gearing, if we are able to. Never mind, he's dead, so that's a little bit too late. And our fighters are bleeding now. 1 plane survived the ordeal, but the enemy carrier is basically out of what is it? Basically out of fighters for all intents and purposes. Shimi takes down the Yamato and looks like making a little prod on our own carrier play. We've got 1 fighter on the enemy side of the map. Considering that he's mostly been striking that side, it's time for us to actually start intercepting his strikes as well. We failed to get the kill on the Yamato, we failed to get the kill on the Missouri. Then and again, we haven't done much damage over time, and there was no liquidator to pick up there. So we now just need to start farming this VonRoon group over here. Sometimes it can be worth just to send 1 single torpedo bomber squadron in to see if these guys are packing defensive or not. So, I mean, at this point, the Roon is reacting, the Zhao isn't, so I probably would just drop on the Zhao because he isn't paying attention and just get a kill. But it turns out the Roon is not really keen on wanting to turn away from that again after, having hard intern. So our number 6 squadron, if it's been a little bit, faster, could have been up here and come in and do a perfect drop down there. But it doesn't matter. The Roon has taken way too much damage. And even though one of them don't... Ooh, the second one doesn't even arm. However, he did damage control party. Is he going to take the third? Is he slow enough? There you go, he does actually evade that, so that's a little bit unfortunate. Our number 6 squadron wasn't exactly in position to get the drop-off, and we weren't paying attention to the enemy aircraft carrier, so he's doing some funky auto-drops on the Felipe de Gross's bow. Might as well just tell a fighter to escort that while we're there. Rune's still alive, but a dive bomber can very quickly fix that problem. But it looks like our Shimmy and Zed group over there is being colonized by the Lion, and the Zhao group is coming up along. Zhao doesn't seem to be paying too much attention to the aircraft, so we can always come back and deal with him later. Looks like we just lost 2 planes, but that fire should kill him up front. There we go. Enemy Rune goes down, and so does a Friedrich to the enemy aircraft carrier. So that's a bit unfortunate. We've, at this point, mostly just been killing enemy fighters. Our fighter squadron is still circling. Well, it's actually not even circling. It's not even taken off. That's what I was trying to say. Hasn't yet, launched. And now it's launching, waiting for the last remaining torpedo bomber to get itself back down on the ship, which can also start taking off shortly. Z46 gets colonized by the Lion, and the Shimmy probably ain't having the best of times himself either. With the Lion, it really is all about getting a torpedo bomber flooding in proper against him. Screw the enemy carrier if he wants to go for this one little silly dive bomber. It's all up to him. The dive bomber attack in the south circles a little bit the wrong direction, but we actually get lucky enough to pick up a fire in 3 hits. That's really, really, really good luck for us. Personally, I would actually focus on the Zhao with the dive bombers and just bleed him. That dive bomber squadron is going to do nothing against the Lion. He's likely to have damage control. Okay, he didn't damage control party. We can just go for the tag fight against the enemy fighter, or we can strafe it away on return path and kill our own plane in the process. Okay, side strafing. I mean, turns out we got lucky that the enemy carrier player was not reacting at all, and without being able to see the actual green icons, it's difficult for me to properly judge the way strafing's in place. Shimmy's being imperialized by the Senjo as well, and I mean, at this point, this Lion is actually still ticking. He was up until now. So that means he probably actually didn't have a damage control party until now, and he bled a lot of health. So that means torpedo bombers. We're kind of staggering them. I mean, if we get a flooding with this torpedo bomber squadron, that Lion, unless he has a replace ship now button, is gone. But it doesn't look like we got the flooding, so we need to come in and flop him again. Not the world's best drop, but because we're staggering drops at the moment, it's kind of awkward because of the circle times on the anti-aircraft. No flooding off that as well, so again, we need to commit our last squadron in. If we circle it all the way up here and drop, like, a little bit farther away, there's actually a small chance, and we aim, the front torpedoes. We aim these 2 torpedoes for the Lion. The other 2 torpedoes would actually have had a chance to hit the Zhao as well. But it turns out we screw the drop, and we get nothing. So, a little bit impatient there, but then again, as we can see, fail stacking and the squad got wiped on the way home. So getting the drop off there was kind of the more important thing. But in that situation, we should have waited for aircraft because the enemy carrier is now out of fighters. If we've been counting them, he has no more means to defend his strike and he has no more means to defend his allied team. Now, we need to seriously concentrate on the next attacks, and that Lion probably has a replace ship soon button available to him. So, but it turns out the Zhao, I'm guessing he doesn't have defensive anti-aircraft. We just need to start getting rid of these enemy ships. Tempest's up there. I didn't actually go check his health or whatnot. It's not a big deal. We can always go flop him with some proper damage over time attacks later on in the game. Currently, we are actually running out of dive bombers, and we actually haven't served too much usefulness with these dive bombers. We haven't really gotten that much damage off them. We haven't gotten any kills off them from using the torpedo bomber flooding damage over time sequence that is standard for pretty much any aircraft carrier. Enemy carriers attacking our Zhao. We've only got dive bombers available. Torpedo bombers are circling up, and I don't think our fighters are actually ordered to escort the enemies out. So that looks like no, they are, and we are reacting for the intercept. However, it looks like we're a little bit too late. So that the strafing's been placed. So we just need to go in and focus on attacking the enemy ships here. Personally, the Lion has at this point used his heal, and he's not going to damage on that. But again, our dive bombers, they are not stacked going in, so there we go. We're bleeding additional aircraft, and we're now basically out of dive bomber replacement. Senjo takes a massive smacking from the Missouri, which is very nice indeed. Looks like we're dropping 1 squad on him. Yeah, I mean, we kind of could have used it for something else, but hey. Torpedo bombers are now starting to take off, and we're moving our ships closer. We've still got enough time on the battle, but at this point, what we need are kills. We need to get all of our fighters up there to intercept the enemy torpedo bombers, to strafe them on the way down. And we also need to kill... okay, head-on strafes are bad, and we should ignore the 2-plane squadron and kill the full-plane squadron. And also at this point, ensure that our torpedo bombers do not miss that Lion. Dive bombers are not a major deal to the Missouri. We need to kill his torpedo bombers. They are the ones that are really dangerous. He has to fly quite a bit over the Missouri's anti-aircraft, but that's not a big deal. We should also consider moving our ship a little bit farther away so we don't get ourselves spotted and farmed. That would be incredibly bad at this point. This drop needs to commit rather rapidly, otherwise the line is going in for the ram trade against the Missouri, and ram trade is beneficial for the enemy team because they still have enough forces to kill us off, and we might not have the time to deal with it. However, we stopped that just on time, picking up a weatherer as well in that attack, trying desperately to defend the Missouri. However, well, the enemy Zhao's gone down now, so we just need to go pick up the enemy Tirpitz, and that's pretty much game. But unfortunately, Zhao torpedoes do kill off our Missouri, which means we now need to capture Bravo. Enemy aircraft carrier probably isn't going to be a big deal, and this enemy Tirpitz will not be one for very much longer, and he's going to take third, going down. Now, without our dive bombers, we still have a decent amount of torpedo bombers, and we have fighters available as a resource, meaning that we have a possibility to actually do something about this. And we also have a bit of a points advantage, so we just need to rapidly advance towards Bravo. No point in using defensive if we can use our fighters to panic this, because, well, okay. Looks like that doesn't really go so well, so, I mean, I would just damage control party that, because our fighters are going to be ready sometime soon, and we always have a defensive anti-aircraft, because we know the enemy carrier bled his torpedo bombers into the strike against the Missouri. Granted, not always, not always something you fully pay attention to, and at this point, letting the fire burn isn't going to cost us too much on the cycling. However, look, our dive bombers are here, we know he's somewhere up there, and they haven't spotted anything, so the Damacon here actually would have been reasonably safe. But we can see that and looks like the enemy carrier does have to get a witherer on. Fury takeoff? Wow. I would not have invested in that. I mean, 3-point skill, so, nah. Normally I just, 30-second damage control party, you don't need that anymore in my opinion. But we are using Fury takeoff. Personally, I would run, torpedo acceleration, and BFT, either BFT or just go 444 into full AA, which is really, really strong. But we should easily be able to get ourselves into the Bravo cap and secure the victory here. So the question is, how much more damage can we farm off the enemy Hakuryuu? I'm assuming the enemy Haku pressed the defensive A button, so, well, I mean, if we capture Bravo, even then we should still be able to wait a 2-minute defensive out. So let me actually select plane number 5 as well. But at this point, it's pretty safe, because the enemy carrier should be reasonably out of aircraft, and, well, our fighters are still full, we still have more than enough fighters available. If we're going to hit that Hakuryuu, and he did trigger defensive, and judging by all the misses from our dive bombers, he probably certainly did, these planes should be stacked up properly, and if you want to, you figure out which plane he's focusing, and then only, drop that plus maybe one more squad, and then send them, wait 30 seconds with the damage control party, and then come back again, because awkward drops like this really are just awkward. And yeah, he did defensive, so you can see we're just losing. We're basically just throwing planes piecemeal into the fight right now. We're not actually achieving anything useful against the guy. I mean, our dive bombers are coming along afterwards. This is a slightly better drop, or at least going to likely get 2 hits on him. Nope, we just missed, but his damage control party's up, and he's going to have another damage control party up by the time our planes get back to base and cycle again. So we're basically just losing planes piecemeal. Even this is unlikely to get a flooding. Oh dear, I spoke too soon. Turns out it was just on time for the flooding. So, yeah, well, we're gonna bleed this enemy carrier for a bit. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, no, he saved his damage control party, so there you go. We actually end up achieving nothing with that against him. And this is kind of the thing, we need to be a lot more disciplined in considering what to strike, when to strike, and what to strike with, and what kind of damage we can get. Because 300 damage is most certainly a very impressive result, although we could have probably made it a little bit easier if we just killed off the Yamato at the very beginning with a proper damage over time attack with the flooding. Flooding has 2 things to... Flooding basically gives you 2 advantages compared to fire damage. Flooding damage after a dive bomber attack is going to lose fewer torpedo bombers to anti-aircraft because your HE dive bombers kill more anti-aircraft as they go in first. Yes, your HE dive bombers will suffer more casualties, but you protect, as we can see, your torpedo bombers for the later stages of the game. In this case, it won't matter. Our aircraft expenditure, other than a little bit more bleed on our dive bombers, our aircraft expenditure was absolutely perfect. We can see we are not really getting another strike off, especially not the way we're moving. We would have to move up in this kind of direction to do it. Let's see what kind of health this Hakuryuu is on. Yeah, he's still on half, but, we wouldn't, considering the way we're moving, we would never actually be able to get any strike towards him. We could have entered the cap and turn around if we wanted to hit the guy again. Turns out, We didn't really want to go for that, so we're not actually going to achieve anything with any of our remaining planes. It might as well just be ordered to circle and not give this guy any more experience. Just keep him out of anti-aircraft range. 18 seconds is not even enough for this squadron to arrive. It's just going to get itself shot down. So honestly, in the ending stages of the game, as we reach 1,000 points, I would have avoided, I would have just properly waited the attacks out on Hakuryuu, waited the 2 minutes out. I do believe we had the time to do so. Waited the 2 minutes out, kept being headed towards him, because he has nothing left. He's got no ability to do anything about it, so we could just wait it out, wait the defensive out, and then just go, hi, flop, and you're dead. A full alpha at the end, once it's defensive off, it's not actually that. Unless he had manual AA, and he probably didn't, because he didn't kill that many planes. Without AA spec, Hakuryuu AA is strong, but not really strong. If you do spec for anti-aircraft, a Hakuryuu's anti-aircraft is absolutely devastating. You do not want to be caught inside of Hakuryuu's anti-aircraft with single squadron like that. If you had AFD and manual AA, none of your torpedo, and he was sailing away from you, none of those torpedo bombers would have made it to even drop. So that is something you need to be aware of. If you are against Hakuryuu, be careful of the anti-aircraft, and don't send your stuff in piecemeal. If you want to go for damage over time attack against them, lob everything up together, drop only 1 or 2 squadrons, preferably 2, makes it harder for him to figure out which one didn't drop, and then pull them all away, split them up, so it's harder for him to figure out which squad is the squad that is empty. If he is focusing on the planes and he's got nothing better to do at that point, he probably will be focusing on the planes. Send in empty squadron first, followed by another empty squadron, followed by the loaded squadron, a little bit of split, and split them up on the angle again. Use all of them and simulate an attack, but only one of them is loaded once the 30-second damage control party ends. Then go in and hope you get the flooding. That is the way to use 3 torpedo bomber squadrons to try to pick up a Hakuryuu kill sniper at the very end. So, in terms of maximization, we did have an incredibly high damage game here to begin with. Nothing to say about that. It could just have been maximized a little bit better. It could potentially have actually acquired a few more kills, potentially even a Kraken Unleashed here, if we had damage over time attack both the Missouri and the Yamato down properly instead of coming in slightly piecemeal. We did stack up our torpedo bombers at least, and our torpedo bomber drops against the Missouri and the Yamato were definitely very strong. But again, I don't think we actually have the full post-battle results. We just have the team scores. We don't actually have the detailed report where we can actually really have a look at how much, compare the fire damage dealt compared to what a flooding damage over time potentially could have dealt. So let's actually say what I wanted to say earlier with the flooding damage over time. Flooding damage over time has 2 major advantages compared to fires. Well, and a disadvantage, actually. A fire cannot be stolen. Once you set a fire, it's guaranteed yours. A flooding can actually be stolen. The torpedo bomber, say if someone else hits a torpedo, he gets a flooding, it's stolen from you. Only one flooding can exist on the ship. If another guy gets it, it resets the timer, and he gets all the damage and all the XP following up from there. That is the downside, but the benefits, 1, flooding damage over time hurts more than just fires. They last longer, and also on top of that, and this is actually the more important one for your team overall, not so much for you, but to an extent, if the guy's far away, then he's going to get there slower, because flooding damage over time noticeably and significantly hampers a ship's maneuverability. It removes his ability to turn, removes his ability to accelerate, which means he's more susceptible to taking damage overall from the rest of your team, and something like that could definitely be useful against a Yamato, who definitely had a very, very bad game this time, just being attacked by us on the wrong side of the map at the start of the game. Other than that, we were playing in a division with the WoWs, but for all intents and purposes, he was really just another random player. He didn't really get attacked too much by the carrier, to my knowledge. I don't think I paid too much attention to that. You can see by the plane kills that it was really just the other people getting hit by him, but we never really spotted with the torpedoes. We never really supported him on that side. We were more busy and kind of more important for us as a team overall, to actually handle the eastern side of the map compared to the western side of the map, which the WoWs was trying to make progress on. So, other than that, the 2 things to pick up from this are, again, 3. 1, headwind launchers are very useful. If you have an opening strategy, definitely consider your opening strategy. With Hakuryuu versus Hakuryuu, in my opinion, there are three opening strategies to take use of. One of them is the aggressive destroyer attack, which we tried. 2 torpedo bomber squadrons followed by 2 fighters, then the last torpedo bomber squadron, because really all you need is 2 torpedo bomber squadrons to ruin the day of a destroyer, and the third one just delays your fighter's arrival by about 12 seconds. So do keep that in mind. If you're doing headwind launchers, it only delays about 10 to 11 or 10 seconds-ish the arrival of your fighters. The opponent aircraft carrier did the other one, which is the disruptive launch, where you launch fighters first to disrupt an enemy aggressive with a torpedo bomber launch. So that because of the fact that the fighters take longer time to arrive there, because if you're launching your torpedo bombers first, they take up the launching cycle, they take 20 seconds to get into the air, and then your fighters need to follow up. If you launch as fighters first, sure, they take, I think, 5-6 more seconds to cycle. They fly faster, so they'll get to the middle faster than, at about the same time as your torpedo bombers, if not a couple of seconds later, depending on the spawns and whatnot, which side of the area, which area of the map you decide to strike yourself. But he'll basically disrupt, by just the automatic existence of his fighter there, he'll disrupt your torpedo bombers and force you to bring your fighters in there, so that he has the advantage. He can get closer to your side of the map with his fighters deeper in with his aircraft before he encounters the resistance of your fighters, and that's why it's called disruptive launch. The third one is pretty much the standard one you did: all torpedo bombers, then your fighters, then your dive bombers, because that's the sequence that they take off in. You just go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 launch, and that's what they do. So normally against Hakuryuu versus Midway, definitely go aggressive. 2 torpedo bombers, 2 fighters, try to sink a destroyer before the enemy Midway gets his planes even remotely close to the battle. Hakuryuu versus Hakuryuu, there is a little bit of strategy and forethought involved here, so do keep that in mind, and pick one that you feel you're more comfortable with. Normally I suggest going aggressive, because there's always a chance you find an enemy destroyer, sink the enemy destroyer before the enemy carrier gets a chance to react. I hope you guys enjoyed this replay cast. I'll be going through more of the replays that I have been sent, hopefully over the course of the next few days, if possible. Just trying to get through them during my Easter break before I go back into lectures and studies, which will again mean less time available to me. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Send in your own replays to replays.strangers123@gmail.com if you would like me to cover your replays like this. Analyze them, tell you what you did well, what you could improve on, what you can think about in your battles to help you help your team and help you improve yourself. If you would like to do so, there is an email address in the video description box below. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my videos if you liked it. Join me on Discord, links in the description. Take care, and I will catch you guys in the next one.